Hello everyone, my name is Felicity Joy, and I want to thank Apostle Stanton for allowing me to take over his video channel today and kind of repeat for you a word that I was able to give on this morning's 6 a.m. prayer call. And if you weren't able to make it, I just didn't want you to miss it. So I first started off by reading from Isaiah chapter 55, starting at verse 8. I'm going to read that for you now. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain and snow come down from heaven, and return not there again, but water the earth and make it bring forth and sprout, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goes forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void, without producing any effect or useless, but it shall accomplish that which I please and purpose, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. So I was just sharing this morning about how I've had the privilege for almost 20 years to attend a church here in the Chicagoland area that every Sunday and even Wednesday, whenever we come together, not only do we hear a message about whatever the sermon is about that day, but we also hear a message about giving. And I am becoming more and more thankful of that as I'm really seeing how the message of sowing and reaping is just not our default. As God said there, our thoughts are not His thoughts. The ways we are about money, that's not really His way of doing it. And so it's that weekly training over such a long period of time I'm so grateful for, because I'm finding that my response in times of difficulty is not what the human tendency is, but my response is I've learned to sow my way out of difficulty. So I want to share with you again, like I said, what I shared this morning. On Tuesday, my family woke up and we went to turn on the water spout and nothing came out. So I live in an area in Will County where we get our water from wells. And you know what I found out? The well had run dry. And so there was no water for most of the day it took them to correct this problem. Well, if you live in the Chicagoland area, you may remember the gorgeous weather we had in the month of October, where there was actually no rain. That ended up contributing to this well situation, and I know we all enjoyed the unseasonably warm weather and being able to get out whenever we wanted, but you know, that's not a sustainable situation. It ended up being a downpour of rain all Tuesday and for a lot of Wednesday as the earth was trying to come back into balance and correct this situation. Well, I just want to encourage you that so it is with us. There are some of you that have enjoyed Apostle Stanton's teaching over weeks, months, and some of you for years. And I would like to encourage you that it would never be said of the people of God that we would be willing to continually draw out of a well that we weren't willing to pour back into. And you know what? You might say, hey, you know, I'm like you. I have a local church that I go to where I tithe, where I offer. And I want to encourage you, according to Luke chapter 12, verse 48, that to whom much is given, much is required. And you might be willing to admit to me, there's stuff that you know that folks in your church don't know because you're hooked up with Apostle Stanton. And aren't we just blessed by the unique word that God has given him? I want to challenge you. There are many of you that God has moved on your heart either to begin sowing monthly to Apostle Stanton's ministry, or perhaps there is a significant seed that God has on your heart to sow. I want to encourage you that the message of giving is never about the receiver. As God said, as His word comes forth out of His mouth and won't return to Him void, God is going to take care of His ministers. Those ministers that are believing and trusting in Him, oh, He'll find a way to take care of them. God will use somebody else. He'll use a whole other means of taking care of them if we won't do it. But the message of sowing and reaping is for the sower. It's not for the receiver. There is something on the other side of your obedience that God is seeing that you're not. I want to encourage you to begin to perceive that with the eyes of your spirit, and not to look at the little in your hand as all that you have, but to look at it as a seed. Because a seed never looks like anything that it's going to become. You know, acorn seeds don't look like acorn trees. It's so much different. Look at what's in your hand for what it can become, and get excited about what's on the other side of your obedience. I want to thank you for allowing me to share today, and I hope we get to connect on Facebook again.